And the Tigers come out ready for this clash with Cairns, and the Tigers line up Andrew Duncan at fullback, Matthew Dwyer and Alan Glyde on the wings. Luke Morris getting his first run on, and son of Des Morris in the centres with David Smith. The halves, Brendan Liston and Neil Bell, have been a success story for Easts, and that shuffle continuing in the forward. Scott Manns at lock, Scott Nielsen and Mark Cesarago in the second row, Michael Esgrove and Darren Crobbers the props, and Dale Williams is the hooker. And Mark Cesarago captaining the Tigers, taking over that role a couple of weeks ago and a part of the run-on side. And a big afternoon for him today, because this is very important to East that they come up with victory over this Cairns team, which has been one of the success stories of the Queensland Cup. And East just mixing their form this season.
The Cairns Cyclones come onto the field here at Langlands Park. They come off a loss to Toowoomba, but it was a very tough game last week, so they were far from disgraced. The side led out by Robbie Schmidt, John Clifford at fullback, Richard Merger and Chris Kelly on the wings, David Maiden and Seigler in the centres, and then that halves pairing of Paul Fowler and Robbie Schmidt, and in the forwards, Matt Hensler, Robbie Hollingsworth, Chad Preen, that's the back row, and in the front row, Peter Deeves, Andy Henley and Troy Lorimer. And there is Robbie Schmidt, very experienced halfback, played representative football, having a little bit of a joke there with referee Ian Irwin before the match, and that's not a bad little tactic either, to get on good terms. He's not finished yet, he hasn't finished the joke. He's coming over to have another little chat, and Ian's thoroughly enjoying himself. Ian Irwin, who referees today's game, also refereed Cairns and Toowoomba last week.
And Ian Irwin thought the joke was funny too. I wonder what it was.
Yes, we'll have to find out later on.
So Ian Irwin is ready and rules time on, and this match underway with the kickoff coming from David Maiden for Cairns, and the Tigers take it up to their 20-metre mark. So this is going to be really important early in this match as the Tigers make good use of this. Cesarago, the captain, leading from the front, takes it out almost about 30 metres out from their lines now. Williams at dummy half, offloading the pass, carted forward there by Darren Crobbers. And the season points for these two teams, East 157 for 136 against, so just in the positive. Cairns well and truly in the positive, 206 to 124.
East too, Jerry, had a game cancelled, so they're one game shy there from everyone else. It was a game that was washed out. Great pass, that one from Cesarago, didn't go to hand though, knocked on by the Tigers. Cesarago tried that round the corner pass.
And Crobbers it was who couldn't take it, but that was Luke Morris, of course, coming through for his first handle of the ball, but unfortunately after the knock-on had occurred. Ooh, and that went very close to getting one on the head as well, ducking under Paul Fowler. So first scrum on the halfway mark, and Robbie Schmidt feeds it for Cairns, so they're not too far away. He's knocked it on, but they get a penalty.
Indiscriminate kicking there. That's interesting that Ian Irwin has decided that was dangerous kicking, as Robbie Schmidt tried to pick it up at the base of the scrum. It was a lash out of the foot, and a penalty here going to the Cyclones.
And David Maiden finding touch about 20 metres or so in Tigers territory. So Andy Henley will take the tap for them, and the man to take it up is Peter Deeves. He's pretty big, makes it up almost to the 20, but good defence from the Tigers, moving in very quickly there. Deeves playing the ball, and away to the other front row, Lorimer. Not too far for him to go. Again, it's good defence from Easts, and this is so important for them. Offloaded now and carted forward by Chad Preen.
Here they come back to the right, the whole back line switching to the right.
Including Schmidt, who takes the pass, and now he's linking up with Fowler. Nice pass to Maiden. Maiden going through a gap, but caught about 8 metres short of the line. So Cairns, will they spread it wide this time? Here's a good strong run by Robbie Hollingsworth. He came on as a replacement last time we saw Cairns down there. It goes to Schmidt with a little kick through on the 5th tackle. Interesting challenge for the ball there, but the Tigers have come up with it. Just 1 metre out from their own line.
Good work from East to hang on there, because that was concerted attack from Cairns. You saw there the danger of that back line. They did well, a couple of settlers onto the left-hand side, and then the whole back line, the two centres, swept around from the left-hand side just as the ball was being played to get in position to carry the ball out. And then now we've got the Tigers through the big fellow in Carruthers, slowly to his feet. There's Williams, turns it back on the inside to Cesarago, gave him a little gap up the middle. Eventually the Cyclones get a hold of him though. Williams wasn't watching play the ball close enough. Neil pops it out here to Liston. Liston went too far, the ball was knocked down. That's play on, but he may have him for offside. Yeah, I think so. It was actually knocked down by one of the Cairns players and then knocked forward to a player.
Fowler picking it up, yeah. Fowler, the man in the offside position.
I felt there, Jerry Liston did, there it is. certainly coming off and in an offside position, but I felt there Liston took a pace too far. All he had to do was pass in front of the defensive line. They had a two-man overlap and could have made easy territory. Instead, they were quite fortunate to get the penalty. Let's have a look now as the Tigers continue their attack. Besgrove gets it up to the 40-metre line. Down the blind side comes Scott Nielsen. Can't get away from Maiden.
Getting dangerously close to the corner, to the sideline.
Too close to the touchline. They decided a little blindside play. For Scott Nielsen was the order of the day, but Wally, they were flirting with the touchline all the time.
Well, they certainly were, David, as we can see on the monitor. He should have just laid down low there, but the strength of the Cairns defence was too good for him.
Bundled into touch. Conditions pretty good here this afternoon, Wall, for a good open game of footy.
Very much so, David. Overcast but fine conditions, and what's shaping up as a great contest.
Fowler now to dummy half as the Cyclones wrap it well out of the scrum. The scrum was set. They got to midfield from the scrum base. And then a good wrapping play there from Hensler. Another wrap play. Hensley pointing left, comes back on this right-hand side to the big fella, Lorimer. Charges up the middle of the ruck. Robbie Schmidt pointing left, but he's standing first right receiver. Goes in behind him. Little chip kick over the top, well-placed kick, but nicely back in position is Duncan. The awkward bounce for him, though. Pressure here from Maiden. Maiden comes through, almost gets him into the in-goal area. But not so, as the Tigers manage to hang on. Dangerous pass, that one up to Scott Nielsen, right under the sticks from Matty Dwyer.
Yes, and so the Tigers under a little bit of pressure there, but able to withstand it. Here's a good strong run by Darren Crothers, taking it up almost to the 20-metre line. So it's the Tigers with Williams offloading. And this is Scott Manns, up about 15 metres short of the halfway. Will they spread it this time as it goes out to Liston? Liston can't stand an offload. Good tackle right around the legs there was Craig Sigler for Cairns. Well, a bit of a wild pass from Morris, taken by Williams, and kicked downfield by David Smith. Back for it is John Clifford. Got plenty of time. Gets an awkward bounce, though. 10 metres outside his own line. He's still got plenty of time to turn around and face that straight line of black and gold, which came up to meet him.
Interesting kick, that one. It was not the sixth tackle. East looked to be somewhat disorganised in the lead up to that, and David Smith, as a last resort, put a kick downfield. Turned out a fair result.
Kelly then caught just outside his 20. Richard Merger coming across from the other wing to get involved. That was actually Maiden. This is Schmidt now, and is flung to the ground by Williams. 30 metres out from his own line. Henley at dummy half, using the big forwards, and this time it's Peter Deeves who's able to pick up 5 or 6 metres.
He's got plenty of experience in Brisbane club football, played for South last year.
Here's a good run now by the lock, Matt Hensler, up to the halfway. That's the 5th tackle too. And back it goes for the kick now from fullback John Clifford, and taken nicely by Alan Glyde. Inside his 20 though, but Glyde does well, so that they're now just 20 metres short of the halfway. So East with their turn. Andrew Duncan gets involved, looking to see if there are any gaps up the middle of this Cairns defence. He is able to pick up some good ground. Now Besgrove leaves it behind, and well, it was a knockback, so the Tigers continue with the action.
Very fortunate there.
Cesarago then on the blind side, nowhere for him to go, running right into Deeves. Caught 8 metres short of the halfway. Williams indicating to go to the open, and goes the blind by himself, and he's got support players there. Nielsen's there, but he gets it away to Dwyer. Dwyer with a chance to finish this off. Will he go all the way? Runs right around Clifford and scores.
Matty Dwyer. We saw him a couple of weeks ago, Jerry. He showed blistering pace against Mackay, and once again he's done exactly the same thing. Initially the run from Dale Williams, the dummy half, dashed down that blind side, put Matty Dwyer away, and then Williams was in good position back on the inside to take the pass. Here's Williams. Great little dummy half play there. Threw the little dummy first, then got to his opposing number 5. That is Matty Dwyer's opposing number 5. That gave Dwyer the run. He realised he had the pace on Clifford. He had Williams back on the inside, but didn't need him.
Yes, a terrific performance, and here you'll see Williams, after indicating he was going to go to the open, also backing up there was Scott Nielsen, but it was Dwyer. He sent the pass to him, the nice little slowing of the action there to just put off Andrew Duncan, and running around him to put it down. A very clever try by Matthew Dwyer, showing tremendous speed, and also just that taking in of the fullback Andrew Duncan. His 5th try of the season, hardly surprising that he's one of the top try scorers in the competition, given that performance there. And also good work, of course, by Dale Williams in starting it all off from the play the ball. So 4 points to 0 in favour of the Tigers, and this conversion attempt to make it 6-0. Brendan Liston. Right out close to the touchline. It's not an easy one for him. First test of the day. And we have a beautiful view of it. It might be just to the right of the uprights, it is, as we were looking at it, of course, from behind them. So the score remains 4 points to 0 in favour of East over Cairns.
The important part here, Jerry, as you can see, Dale Williams run from dummy half. There's at number 12 in Robbie Hollingsworth, didn't go in quick enough. And the ball goes to the flying winger, Matty Dwyer, who does the job very well. Just stands up there fullback just a split second to get round him and score the try.
Nice little try down that blind side. We don't see too many sides using the blind as much as we used to in the old days. They all like to sort of have the safety of midfield. But we did see East a little bit earlier try blindside play that got them in a touch. On that occasion, not a problem. As Cesarago once again breaks that initial tackle. Good quick play the ball too. The Cyclones have not had time to get back. Good strong charging run by Crothers. He's rucked the ball strongly in the match. Another blindside play. Scott Nielsen. Nielsen bumps out of that tackle, throws a pass to Dwyer, but it can't go to hand this time.
Yes, Dwyer just overrunning that, just a fraction.
There's the bench from East, a pretty accomplished bench as well. Big Steve Mills there in the foreground, Peter Anderson, Steve Jones and Heath Lewis. There's the passing movement there, the hooking action of the pass from Scott Nielsen. And as you said, Jerry, Matt Dwyer just overrun it. Now here's a chance for Cairns. They do their best. They play their best football with the ball in their hands. They're a good attacking side. Robbie Schmidt pops the pass up nicely to Sigler. Sigler gets through the line. Cover defence there. Just in time, though, from East to shut him down, and that was Scott Nielsen. Good wrapping play, this from Hensler. Quick play, the ball's required. Merger was a dummy half. Fowler fires the pass out to Robbie Schmidt. He throws the dummy, brings it back here now to Sigler. Sigler steps, goes straight through the line, gets the hands free up to Robbie Schmidt. Beautifully back inside to Merger. What a great try from the Cyclones. Straight up the middle of the ruck. They had big raps on this fellow, Craig Sigler. When we saw them play a couple of weeks ago against West, I should say, or a couple of months ago it would be now, they said this fellow Sigler can play. Have a look how he gets his hands free to pop the pass up to Robbie Schmidt, and then Schmidt a beautiful pass up to Merger. Let's have a look. First of all, it goes out wide. Now, Robbie Schmidt's got nowhere to go here. Brings it back on the inside. Nothing much on. Plenty of East defence. That long pass. Sigler decides he's going to have to go forward. Steps, straightens, puts the fend out as well. Holds off one defender. Passes up to Robbie Schmidt. Schmidt had to catch it low and pass it low. And then Merger, beautiful backup position, strolls around to put it down right next to the sticks.
Yes, you see why Robbie Schmidt is such a class player here, because here he is in the position where he's got nowhere to go. Goes back the other way, gets a pass to Sigler, who goes through the gap, but he's backing up is Robbie Schmidt, and not only backing up but also able to get that pass away to Merger, who's probably one of the best wingers in the competition, to finish off. So a wonderful try there, and Richard Merger has scored 6 tries for the season, and I guess when you put him alongside Matt Dwyer, we really are looking at 2 of the best in the competition. They've certainly been 2 of the more impressive wingers that we have seen. John Clifford then with the conversion attempt, and he puts it between the uprights, and the Cairns Cyclones hit the lead. They lead East by 6 points to 4.
As you referred to before, David, nice vision here by Schmidt. He comes back to the blind side. Now, isn't this a good run here? He does all the business here, and if you'll notice there, the Merger is actually the dummy half from the beginning of the play to back up from the centre and score the try.
It was backing up from the opposite wing as well, Wally, so it was good work by Richard Merger going and looking for the action. Well, the kick-off out on the full, so that was a mistake by East after just having allowed a try in.
Cardinal sin here by the local side, and now Cairns with another great chance.
Yes, and taken forward by Troy Lorimer. So the Cairns Cyclones, can they continue this cyclonic action that we've seen the last couple of minutes? And that was a cyclonic run by Andy Henley, and they can keep it going as it's offloaded now. And Robbie Hollingsworth getting the pass away to Matt Hensler. So they're just about 25 metres out. If Hensler can get to his feet and play the ball, it's taking a while. Well, the referee might have even thought about giving a penalty there. Schmidt gets it out to Fowler. Fowler looking at options, getting it away now to the fullback Clifford, and he's caught 30 metres out from the line. Clifford to play the ball in for the Cyclones. Peter Deeves. This is the 5th tackle. So we'll look to see where Schmidt goes with this one. He's going to the blind side and the kick looking for the corner. He finds touch. So in the end, not a bad result for the Cyclones. Finding touch about 12 metres out from the line.
You can see Robbie Schmidt there, who's still working. This wasn't exactly what he was after. He'll take the kick back into touch though. But even after that, he was still talking to his players, saying, look, we've just got to get this right. Not quite happy with things. And another man not quite happy is also referee Ian Irwin. He's called Hensler over, Matt Hensler. Robbie Schmidt there as the captain hearing the report. And I'd say a second tackle. Looks like he'd flopped on one of the East attackers a little bit earlier. Andrew Duncan now takes the pass off the scrum. East have been a little bit quiet in the last 5 minutes. Of course, they made an error which allowed, well, they made 2 errors really. They made the error that allowed Cairns to get possession for the try, and then they kicked out on the full and allowed a restart from the centre of the halfway line. So they put themselves under a bit of pressure in the last 7 or 8 minutes, and in that time the Cairns side has come up with 6 points. Crothers again with a good run and a good play the ball. Williams, who's worked well out of dummy half, slips over, fires it up to David Smith. David Smith's got nowhere to go. Hensler, I think it is, who came in along with Henley. Kicked this time by Cesarago. Punches for the touchline, finds it beautifully this time. The winger there, Chris Kelly, had little option other than to watch it fly past him. A loose head and feed will go to the Cyclones.
Yeah, David, I'd just like to say that the Cyclones have got very good attacking weapons. I'd just like to see them tighten their defence up in the centre a little bit. They seem to be fairly loose there in the middle, and it's giving East the chance to make those valuable yards.
Certainly Carruthers and also Cesarago for East have been able to find a few holes in the middle of the ruck. Cairns once again to feed the scrum. This is Robbie Schmidt, brings Kelly in from the blind side, finds him nicely. Chris Kelly does pretty well to get it up outside the 30-metre line. Quick play the ball. Robbie Schmidt through the dummy. Should have passed. Can't always pick it right. That's Henley. That's Fowler. Fowler out to Sigler, who did great work to set up the first try. Now Peter Deeves uses his bulk to get the team going forward. East defence looking pretty solid in this set of 6. Robbie Schmidt's going to try and stretch him around the park. There's Fowler. Fowler out there to the fullback in Clifford. Clifford just gets held onto by David Smith. That's the 5th tackle. Back here to Hensler to Robbie Schmidt. Schmidt decides to high ball. One player was offside. There's Brendan Liston. He got a hold of it. And Ian Irwin deciding that players were in front of the kicker and inside the 10 metres. And therefore, Robbie Schmidt not having any jokes with Ian Irwin on this occasion.
It'll be interesting to have a look at this again as we see on the screen here. It looks like he's onside.
Yes, David Maiden, the man going through, and he was signalling that he was onside. And I noticed also that Robbie Schmidt was trying to tell the referee to check with the touch judge. In the meantime, though, the Tigers have found touch on the halfway, and Besgrove takes it well into Cairns territory by about 10 metres. Good strong run by the front rower. So now it's used out to the backs to Liston and turned nicely back inside to Liston again, and he's caught 8 metres now in Cairns territory. David Smith at halfback, at the dummy half rather, offloading the pass and carted forward nicely there by Morris. So Morris is caught. They're about 25 metres out from the Cairns line. Smith, Cesarago, Williams in a break. Williams keeps on going. Can he go all the way, getting the pass away? And Scott Mann's backing up. So the Tigers getting very close now. Smith further afield and out there, held up by Liston, sending it back inside, and a good strong run here by Darren Crothers. He's just 3 or 4 metres short of the line, but that's the 5th tackle. Williams then trying to go by himself, but instead sending the pass to a Cairns player.
And threw it forward, so on the 6th tackle that'll be a changeover. Williams just decided to delay his pass there, hoping he had one of his players running onto it, and he really didn't get what he was after there because there was a little bit of a gap on the edge of the ruck.
Yeah, but the player didn't come into the hole, David.
Exactly, and he just had to hold the pass for too long and then couldn't find him. Here's David Maiden now, working his way out to the 20 metres. This is Murga. He's grabbed by the big front rower, but knocked over. There's Lorimer, pops it up to Robbie Schmidt. The long pass is on out here to Sigler again. Tries to step and straighten, does well. Finds Kelly out there on the out. That's Kelly this time. No, it was Kelly earlier. Back on the inside now to beat Peter Deeves. Deeves has come right up the middle. Cairns looking very exciting in possession. Murga's gone to dummy half. He's looked back on that left-hand side. There's Hollingsworth, the long pass out to Kelly. Kelly's on the fringes, very close to the touchline. Cover defence from East just covering. They've still got a couple of plays to go, the Cyclones. Murga in there to Fowler. Fowler lets one go. There's Robbie Schmidt. There's Peter Dees up the middle. Nice little step. Can't get it. Yes, he does get his hands free. Pops it back to Fowler. And then on to Preen. The Cairns Cyclones keeping the ball alive. That's the fifth tackle now. There's Robbie Schmidt, the general. Dribbles the ball through, but not far enough, and David Smith dives on it to save the day.
Well, what exciting football from Cairns. They always are so entertaining to watch. They keep the ball alive, and they're dangerous whenever they have the ball in hand.
Beautiful backup as well. After they'd made that split down the far side, back up down the middle. So important if you're going to maximise those breaks.
And their selections are very good in their selection of passing.
They read the game well, don't they? They're watching what the defence is doing. They're looking for opportunities at all times. A lot of that comes from Robbie Schmidt, but also other players are also keeping an eye out for where the weaknesses are.
Well, it's interesting to see that the winger in Murga can get into the first receiver at any stage.
Liston with the strong kick, and Clifford doesn't know where it is. But he's been able to pick it up. Unfortunately for him, it's a knockback, and what a glorious tackle round the legs from Luke Morris. He did well there, Morris. Now Kelly taking it forward up almost to the halfway. And again, Murga very keen to get involved. Offloading the pass. And this is nice off pass, but just a little bit forward. So Murga again involved. But that last pass, which came from Chad Preen, and he will see it. Preen gets the arms free very well.
Definitely
but
forward.
Murga in front of him.
It was just a matter of where Murga was going to put it down. I reckon Andrew Duncan, the East fullback, was the most relieved player, relieved man here at Langlands. Murga
to hear the ref's whistle.
He's all over the park, Murga, isn't he?
Oh, isn't he?
Certainly is. Involved in everything. So Neil Bell will put this ball in for the Tigers, and they'll have possession again close to the halfway. Duncan, nowhere for him to go. So Andrew Duncan to play the ball, Liston in to be a dummy half this time. And coming on, Steve Mills, his first touch of the ball, and manages to get it into the Cairns territory as well. Again using the blind side, Scott Nielsen.
Peter Anderson on as well, so Easton made two of their interchanges.
Matt Dwyer coming up with that loose ball. Knocked back though, so the Tigers are able to continue. Beautiful hands there by Liston to hold on to that. Nice offload to Morris. Morris still going. He's played well so far, getting it away to Smith. And Smith caught 28 metres out. So the Tigers on the roll as Cesarago holds up the pass and gets it beautifully to Mills. One-handed flick pass is there for Anderson. And away a try to the Tigers. Over goes Alan Glyde. And Easts have gone in. That was good play from Easts then. Finished off nicely by Glyde.
Great work that from the Tigers. They've shown some concerted attack. Big Steve Mills and Anderson, the two fresh players, played a part in that particular try. I think it was the pass from Cesarago that really got things going. A preceding ruck as well, where Luke Morris stepped nicely up the middle of the ruck. Let's have a look how at the top. Here's Cesarago. Now he does pop a beautiful little short ball here to Steve Mills. On the way down, Mills just pops this pass up nicely, gets into the hands of Peter Anderson, and then Anderson fires that pass out to Alan Glyde. Had to go low, had to go hard. He gets across in the corner. That's good work from the Tigers. Let's have another look as Cesarago gets to the defensive line, delicately pops it up to Mills. He went into the gap nicely. The one-hander popped up to Anderson. They're the two fresh players. Then out to Alan Glyde, and he went low and hard. If he hadn't have done that, I'm sure Clifford would have knocked him in a touch. Great try from the Tigers. And Alan Glyde sneaks across in the corner after some great build-up on the inside.
And his first try of the season for Alan Glyde, 22-year-old, but finished that off very well, as if he's been scoring tries all his life. The whole concept of getting low, especially when you're dangerously close to the corner line, he exhibited perfectly there.
We've seen some entertaining footy, Jerry. 3 tries and all from wingers, so there's a fair indication the ball's getting plenty of movement. The wingers are looking for work. They're also in position when the ball pops up on the flanks. We've had 3 great tries.
Brendan Liston had one attempt which was from one sideline. Now he's back on the other side of the field, and I'm sure he wished he could get into the middle there. Although he doesn't mind as long as there are tries that have been scored beforehand. Liston taking his time. You can just make him out in front of the yellow building. It's not a bad kick, but it's away. No goal, and so the score remains here 8 points to 6 in favour of East over Cairns.
Well, this is all about letting the ball do the work. We see a beautiful short pass here by Cesarago to Mills. Mills then turns, parts it off to Henderson. He gives a beautiful pass to the winger in Glide to go over in the corner. That's a real good try, that is. And we've seen that all across the oval there today.
Perhaps if we had to look to a defensive weakness that allowed that try, it was Fowler, who came in too close to Cesarago. Really didn't need to be in that close, and that allowed Mills to have that little gap, and he well and truly capitalised on it. Now the Tigers to try and work it out of their own 20. And they've done that pretty simply. There's Cesarago prepared to throw it back to Williams. Up there to Neal. Adventuresome play here from the Tigers as their confidence is rising. David Smith in there. Scott Nielsen does like to get his hands free as well. Pops that one around the corner. Does it beautifully out to Luke Morris. Plenty of pace here from Morris as well. Robbie Schmidt can't go with him. Yes, he can. Rob Schmidt, great work from the veteran halfback. Now he's to bring it back this way again. Williams fires it out there to Scott Manns. Here they come. Andrew Duncan decides to straighten it out to Brendan Liston. Out to Big Steve Mills. What a try. The Tigers have gone length of the field in that passage of 6. Luke Morris flashes down the right-hand side, and then a beautiful backline play where all players did their job. Liston decided he had to go to the defensive line to take them on just one more time. And who bobs up on the outside but Big Steve Mills? Took a good pass from right back to far side when Scott Nielsen put them away. That's David Smith. Pops a pass up there to Dale Williams. Scott Manns, look at the players coming forward there. They all wanted a piece of the action. That's where Andrew Duncan it was who took them on initially. There's Liston plunging through as well. Out to Steve Mills. He went low. He went in the corner. They were there a couple of seconds ago.
Well, Gavin Payne's been saying all year that East haven't been playing well. Well, this is them when they are playing well. There you see Andrew Duncan holding up the pass, getting it to Liston. Liston again timing the pass nicely to Mills, and Mills goes over in the corner. And prior to that, of course, a terrific run from Luke Morris and a magnificent tackle as well by Robbie Schmidt to drag him down. Otherwise, that would have been a certain try, but it was finished off by using then the open side. Steve Mills scoring the try for the Tigers to put them 6 points ahead. Once again, poor old Brendan Liston finds that he's friendly with the touchline. They're making him tough for him today. None from 2 so far, and another tough one. But East's looking impressive. I wonder if this game continues like this, where we see one good try after another coming from opposite sides. We're in for a wonderful afternoon. It's been pretty entertaining so far. Brendan Liston then. Can he get his first conversion? He's given this one a good go, and the flags go up, and it's 14 points to 6 in favour of East over Cairns, and Liston's happy.
Well, you can nearly put this whole try down to that beautiful break there by Luke Morris. And this is where he played the ball. Now here's beautiful skill here. Now I think you can see here, as we can see the ball go through the player's hands here. This is the key here from Andrew Duncan. He makes the extra man to get that overlap onto Liston, out to Big Steve Mills, and look at him go.
You'll get into the wingers convention now, because Mills there now, he's got his confidence up as well, and he charges straight up. But he's broken the sequence of wingers tries, but he was running like a winger, like a big Eric Growth, as he charged across to finish off that backline movement.
Like a startled gazelle.
Well, he's had an impact since he's come in off the bench, so he's a pretty handy bench player to have. As caught with the ball there, Scott Nielsen for the Tigers, and they sent it the other way. Bell offloading to Liston, and charging onto the ball, Duncan. A good run, but the referee's called that forward. Yeah,
tough call. I thought it was an angled run, really straightening things up, and Ian Irwin, I guess, might have got a little indication from his touch judge. They work pretty closely these days, and that'll be a huge relief for the Cyclones. Let's have another look at it. A pass here from Liston, and looked to be okay to me from that angle. Anyway, the referee's the one that counts. Here's a big strong push, gets the head by the Tigers.
Oh, they can do no wrong. And good work by Duncan again across the halfway. Looks inside their support there, and Scott Manns, and he gets the pass away to Glide. take it. Beautiful tackle by Murga.
Sensational football against the feed. Then the pass from the dummy half. A juggling act by Andrew Duncan. The lock backs up down the middle, puts it away to a flying winger, and another flying winger gets a hold of him. What a great passage of play.
Well, I bet you're glad you've turned on the TV set this afternoon because this has been all-out entertainment so far, and I'm sure it's going to continue.
Well,
Two tremendous sides.
Well, it's all about this Queensland Cup competition. This is why I think the experience is coming from...
Cairns then with the ball, running it out. This is their lock, Matt Hensler. A good run by him. Henley goes in to be a dummy half. Has to wait for a while for the ball. Now this is 4 Mile. 12 metres short of the halfway. 4 Mile will play the ball for the Cyclones. They need to strike back now because the Tigers have got away a little bit. An 8-point lead. 14 points to 6 in favour of East over the Tigers. We've got about 12 minutes to go to half-time. Kick now by John Clifford. And Duncan has plenty of time to watch that ball, but it's going to go into touch, I think. No, he picks it up.
Still a very good result, that from the Cyclones. Matty Dwyer will find it difficult. He does extremely well to break that tackle. But now East will take plenty of time to get back into position to ruck this ball out. That's their first tackle. Andrew Duncan, who's been dangerous and prepared to do the hard work. Williams at dummy half. Peter Anderson. Shoulders up. There, pops it up to Neil. He's really keen to keep the ball alive. Here's Scott Nielsen. There's that head free again. Pops it up to Brendan Liston. Beats the tackle of Robbie Smith. Got support on the left. He went too far again. Went too far. He's down and on the ground. Murga's got room to move. Can't get away from a diving David Smith. And once again, he's prepared to move that ball around. Scott Nielsen, that left-handed round the corner pass has paid dividends for the Tigers this afternoon. And once again, they're finding holes up the middle of the ruck. This time, Preen. He pops the pass up there. Really, both teams, well, I didn't think it was knocked on. The ball bounced around at the back there, but perhaps Ian Irwin thought the tackle had been affected and therefore he called tackled. But plenty of action. Let's have another look at it. Preen it is who tries to pop the pass out the back. That's not knocked on there. Knocked back by the leg. Certainly not knocked on for me, but the referee would not have been in a position to see that. Would have needed some assistance from his touch judge.
Pete Cairns have got too many players on.
They need a few extras.
They're trying to work out who they've got and who they haven't got. 4 Mile packing down at lock there.
Well, the main thing here is that they don't try and play that catch-up football. They've got to control the ball when they get it and try and put some pressure on the East defence.
I'd like to look at Duncan this afternoon. He's really come in well for East from fullback. He's got himself heavily involved. Now Steve Jones, another fresh player, has come on. Gavin Payne using his interchange players very well. There's Nielsen, bumps out of another one, bumps through another one, goes straight ahead, Scott Nielsen, just on the pace, but Matty Dwyer has, turns around, spins over, loses the ball, lost it over the try line. That'll come back for a 20-metre tap. Scott Nielsen is absolutely cutting them to ribbons up the middle of the ruck. Here he goes again, looks for support, finds Matt Dwyer, and Dwyer there does well to try and twist and get it down, and just lost it in that action of trying to ground the ball.
Good ruling by Ian Irwin because we had a very close view of it naturally on the replay, but just juggling it as it was going to ground.
Well, there's 2 tries that East perhaps could have had. They got caught from behind here from Murga after a good break from a scrum, and then another one there. They could have had a cricket score up by now, but as it is, Cairns have had little ball in the last 15 minutes. Are only 8 points down.
And they could be caught on the 6th tackle here. No, that was the 5th tackle rather. So Fowler caught with the ball. Back it goes to Clifford for the kick to drive it downfield. Glide back there. Duncan, though, watches it go across the dead ball line.
Well, as I said earlier in the call there, David and Jerry, you know, the Cyclones are really going to tighten their defence up in the middle and make sure that every tackle counts. Otherwise, they're going to get beaten by a cricket score.
Certainly being allowed to stand in tackles, and that's better defence, and he's lost that ball. The touch judge did not notice it though. I'm sure he lost that ball. Back on the inside, back outside it comes. There's Mills. They're still trying to throw passes in their own territory. I guess it's worked for them for most of the game. Why stop now? Mills at dummy half. Still manages to get away from Maiden and gets 10 metres upfield. You couldn't expect any more than that from that sort of position. Williams at dummy half. Peter Anderson straight ahead. Pops it back on the inside. That one's been knocked forward. Couldn't be handled by Crothers.
Well, there's been plenty of attack in this game, and the missed tackles, Cairns 16, East 3. Telling figure there.
Well, they could be thankful, Jerry, that they're only trailing by 14-6. Well, it could easily have been a higher score than that, as we get a report from one of the touch judges. East have played by far the best attacking football I've seen from them this year. They've been threatening this all along. Got a replacement on here in Steve Howlett, and perhaps that's the problem the touch judge had. Was a late tackle, an upending tackle apparently that Howlett has been caught for.
Well, the opposite linesman is standing back another 15 metres towards East goal line there, so I think that's where the penalty might go back to.
Well, the penalty is going back there. It goes to the Tigers, of course. Steve Howlett obviously not too impressed. He's only just come onto the field for Cairns.
An upending tackle apparently, and a dangerous one, has brought about this penalty for the Tigers. There's only about 6 minutes up to half time.
Well, the linesman must have been the only one to see it in the whole ground.
Well, the Tigers have the ball again. Peter Anderson up to the halfway. Rather, that was Darren Crothers making it to the halfway. Williams at dummy half. Bell. Liston. Leaving out Morrison, going out to Cesarago, and a nice offload as well. Smith now across the halfway he goes, but right around his legs is Chris Kelly.
Should have thrown it out, a three-man overlap.
Bell now from dummy half, again looking at the blind side and throwing the pass straight across the sideline. Cesarago not too impressed.
I bet he's not, because East were in good build-up there. They were getting good territorial advantage. They were going forward nicely. And only 5 minutes up to half-time, you want a value possession. 14-6, East will be happy with that at half-time. East have certainly been in the more adventuresome, and that's brought about a little bit more drop ball by them. But if you don't try something, nothing will happen. Now Cairns with a chance to improve their position. There's Robbie Schmidt. Runs out of the base of the scrum and did it pretty easy, about 15 metres. Picked up with ease. Pass back on the inside there to Howard. Here's Sigler. He's knocked to the ground. They've got to midfield. Howlett gets the ball, pops it up this one to Lorimer. Lorimer stands in the tackle, pops it back there to Hensley. Or Henley it is, Henley. Plays it forward. Does pretty well to get it inside the 20. This is where Cairns like to attack from. Big wide back line as well. Robbie Schmidt out to Fowler. Fowler can't turn it back on the inside because Crothers read it. That's been knocked down. 6 to go. Good little chance here for 4 Mile. Brian 4 Mile. There's 6 tackles. You'd have to think Cairns had fancy themselves. There are plenty of chances on this left-hand side if they want to get there. David Maiden. You can hear the call for slide, and that's exactly what East have done. They run a very short defensive line, the Tigers, even on their try line, and it appears the try line is just beckoning them. But you see this sideways movement from the Tigers as they race across here to cover the gaps on the outside. Good, strong defence there from Matty Dwyer. And then the final sliding action, I think there from the fullback in Andrew Duncan, saves the day for the Tigers.
Yes, Kelly, the man forced into touch just short of the corner post.
Yeah, I think they had a few tackles up their sleeves. Actually, Maiden should have turned the ball inside.
East then with the ball. David Smith. The defence moving up quickly for Cairns. They certainly don't want the Tigers to score again. That one-handed pass picked up nicely by Morris, who's been a bit dangerous so far in the game.
Looks a classy player, doesn't he?
He does indeed. Obviously a chip off the old block. Now running the ball forward is Steve Jones.
Was knocked down.
And Kelly coming up with it.
It's been knocked on by Cairns, so East will get another chance. Kelly just blocked that pass. Here's the pass now. Put up there by Steve Jones. Was looking for his winger and Matt Dwyer. Kelly blocked it, knocked it forward. Another chance for the Tigers with 3 to go up to half-time.
The Tigers then with the ball. Liston. And Smith giving an indication, but going without it. And so Cairns come up with it. David Maiden dives on the loose ball.
Almost straight in the lap of John Clifford there.
And now this is Steve Howlett up almost to the 20-metre line. So can Cairns score a try with about 2.5 minutes left in the first half, rather? It goes to Fowler. Fowler trying to step through, but the gap closing pretty quickly. Anderson and Jones combining to bring him to ground. Henley, Schmidt, he's dangerous, especially close to the line. Nowhere for him to go, getting it back to Henley. Henley caught just 5 metres short now. The Cairns Cyclones looking to put on a whirlwind. It goes to Lorimer. Lorimer heading for the line by himself. Lorimer's getting close. He's still 3 metres short though, and that's the 5th tackle. Schmidt's in there, a dummy half. Can he get this ball, kick the ball in play? No, it's a very short dead ball line there, and across it goes. So that all coming to nothing for the Cyclones, and a chance gone begging really that, well, probably a chance that they really needed for a try.
He seemed to change his mind there, Robbie Schmidt. He was initially going to put the kick on. I don't think he would have preferred really to be at that dummy half position. I'm sure had he been first receiver, a little bit more room to see what the weaknesses were, and a little bit more time to execute the kick. He had neither of those, and in the end it was a rather poor kick and allowed the Tigers to get off the hook. There's Duncan, he's done well today. Pops it up the list, and he's also played well. Williams pointing to his captain in Cesarago, but decides he'll just wind the clock down. Coming up near to half-time now. Cesarago does well to turn it back on the inside. A big Steve Mills breaks that tackle so easily. Can't break that tackle though, a big Howlett. Also over the top was Peter Deves. Brendan Liston decides the high ball, hook back across field. Pretty good kick this one too. Murger under it nicely. Took it solid as a rock. Richard Murger. Ultimately the pressure did not come directly on the man. And now the Cyclones with a chance to move it out wide. This is Chris Kelly. Has he got enough pace to get around Matty Dwyer? Has initially, but Dwyer goes with him. Grabs him by the collar and drags him to ground. That's the halfway line. Only seconds up to half-time. Murger in there. If they move it out here on the outside, they might be a half a chance. Peter Dees ducks under a high tackle. It'll bring about a penalty. The high tackle was from Steve Jones. And Cairns will get one last chance to put points on in this first half. They trail at the moment by 14 points to 6. And out in midfield, Peter Deves had got on the end of this passing movement, and on the end of the tackling was Steve Jones. Cairns have decided they'll try and take the 2 points. A fair kick, they're about 42 metres out, but conditions really perfect while for him to knock this one over. No breeze to particularly bother him.
Well, I think they really need to take these 2 points. You know, he can knock this over. Well, they're only a try out of it, but you know, I think the old kick it out and put the bomb up and hope for the best, you know, has gone by. Be interesting to see if he can get the distance.
Yes, he's about 45 metres back, as you can see there, perhaps a bit less than that. John Clifford it is, the fullback for the Cairns Cyclones, to see if he can get them to within a converted try at the half-time break, because the Tigers are leading by 14 points to 6 at the moment. If he gets this, it'll be 14-8.
They're pretty hot today, the Tigers.
They've played extremely well. And of course, Cairns have played their usual exciting play too, so the first half has been tremendous to watch. John Clifford, penalty goal attempt. It has the legs, and it's there. So the right option, they pick up 2 points and reduce the margin to just 6. Just a converted try in it at half-time, with the Eastern Suburbs Tigers leading the Cairns Cyclones by 14-8 at half-time. And after a tremendous battle in that first half, second half then about to get underway. The Tigers kicking off and defending the northern end in this second half. Liston with the kick. And underneath it looks like 4 Mile. So 4 Mile starts the action for the second half, and driven into the ground with some good defence. Peter Anderson moving up quickly there for the Tigers. Down on the sideline, Gavin Payne, the coach of Easts, is with Wally Fullerton-Smith.
Well, Gavin, great first half, 3 tries to 1, and there's been some great ball movement there and some very decisive passing.
Yeah, at times, Wally, I was pretty happy with it, but at times I thought we've perhaps overplayed our hand a little bit in that regard. Sometimes, you know, when it's coming off, it's great. Sometimes, and then when it doesn't come off, you've got to settle back and go into an ordinary old set and chug forward, and then it'll come from there.
You certainly, and particularly it's controlled, the play's been controlled around the rucks very well by the likes of Dale Williams. You know, I think he's a great player there, and he shows good vision. he's always there to back up and get the movement going. And he must be a great asset to the side.
Oh, mate, no doubt. A lot of our plays, Dale dives out a dummy half with. It's something that he's very comfortable with and he does very well. So, he virtually gets a free rein to gallop around and do whatever he likes in there.
And working in the backs, Andrew Duncan's started off very well in the first half. He's been instrumental in most of the tries.
Dunk's had a bit of a slow start. He had a couple of weeks in seconds midway through the season, and he's starting to come back into a bit of form now, Wally, yeah, for sure.
It's amazing what a couple of games in the seconds does to players, mate, doesn't it?
Yeah, mate, it tends to pep them up a bit, They get a bit, I think they sometimes get a bit carried away with themselves, how they're going and that, so yeah, it doesn't hurt them.
Well, good luck there, Pony, and thanks very much.
Thanks, Paul.
And the Tigers doing well running this ball out too. Steve Mills, though, forced backwards. Well, look at that pass. Real basketball one to Scott Manns. He's caught 5 metres short of the halfway on the 5th tackle. The Tigers then. Liston looking to drive it reasonably deep. Picked up nicely by Kelly. And Kelly putting on plenty of pace early, but well taken by Dwyer and Smith combining. Schmidt to 4 Mile. And 4 Mile dragged down about 15 short of the halfway.
We certainly had some great attack in the first half, but there was some good defence as well. Williams there, who's played particularly well at hooker. He's topped the tackle count for the Tigers with Cesarago, and Luke Morris also on his debut. And then Henley, Deves and Preen have also put in plenty for the Cyclones as East pick up a loose ball through Crothers. And a good chance now for the Tigers to go on the attack. I really believe this second half, with both sides such good attacking sides, if you can dominate possession, I think either side is quite capable of really going on and scoring plenty of points. And with Wally Fulton-Smith on the touchline now is Cairns coach Gary Smith.
East were first to get on the board, and then Cairns come straight back and scored straight away from that. But then since then, they seem to be a little bit loose in defence in the centre.
Yeah, mate, we are. We're probably not moving up and being aggressive enough against the big East pack. So I think if we can correct those problems in this half, I think we'll go a long way to getting there.
Particularly to stop some of their offloads. That's been the key, hasn't it, with the likes of Williams, Cesarago and Anderson getting those little passes away when you think the defence has got them and getting a bit of a roll on.
Yeah, mate, we're 90% putting the effort in, and then we're getting to the tackle, but we're not committing ourselves and going through with the tackle and putting the bloke with the ball on the deck. So if we can address that problem, I think we'll go a long way to making it a competitive game.
Well, I think that you've got a good set of forwards there. I think a big thing is to get it out to the likes of Sigler and Maiden to do the business from there, and Murger.
Yeah, mate, but, it's the same old story. You've got to go forward before you can go wide. And I mean, they had good field position on us in the first half, so we've just got to strike back now in the second half.
And what have you said to them at half time to sort of rectify that?
Oh, we just had a little talk about how they're just not going through with those tackles. I mean, they get everything's in position. We're getting to the tackles, but we're just not committed enough to go through with the tackle and put the big blokes on the deck. And as you know, all the big fellas hate getting up off the deck, and that's what we've got to do. So we've addressed that problem, hopefully, and we'll see a different second half.
Right, good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Gary Smith, Hollingsworth leaves the ball behind, but can still come up with it and 6 to go.
Was knocked down by Dwyer.
Yes, and coming up with it was Mick Scarton, who's come on for Cairns as well. This is Lorimer now, the front rower, caught about 8 metres in Tigers territory. So Cairns trailing by 6 points, 4 Mile trying the blind side. Not too many openings there, though. Sigler was the one who was looming up alongside. Hollingsworth continues the same direction. But again, he's running short of, the support players coming through. Fowler, Schmidt, and the offload that goes to, the
Scott Manns. He had it, he juggled it, he then just tried to get the fingers back on it again. He was looking how far he was going to have to run. He's actually got a bit of a smile on his face. We'll go closer to intercepting a ball than this one.
Well, that was the next question. How long will it take him to get to the line?
I don't think he would have made the try line well. I think someone would have mowed him down sooner or later, but he was certainly thinking about it. This time Fowler. As the halfback Robbie Schmidt wrapping around him, but he decides just to go forward. Hollingsworth, who's been very creative in this second half. There's Howlett, pops it up nicely to Hollingsworth again. There's Lorimer. Lorimer fires it straight out there to David Maiden. Maiden tries to get away from Luke Morris, steps away, comes back on the inside. The defence is there. The ball's been knocked forward though. I thought actually it had been knocked down by an East hand. The referee saw it merely as being lost forward by David Maiden. Let's have another look. Liston got off the ground to make the tackle. Well, he certainly lost it forward there in a strong defensive action there by Steve Mills. The scrum to pack now inside the 20 metres. The Tigers will want to get it out of this danger zone. Andrew Duncan, good two-man tackle there from the Cyclones. Fowler and Maiden finally to his feet. Luke Morris wrapping here from Peter Anderson. Second ruck out of the scrum. Good work from the big fellow. Lets one go, the halfback Neil, out to Mills. Mills is being named there. He pops the pass around. Really didn't have any idea where that was going to go. Merger there. Almost a similar action to Scott Manns a little bit earlier. The ball just bouncing around in his hands. Ultimately came off his chest. You can bet your life if he had got a hold of it, he'd put it down over the try line.
Well, that's right. He was disappointed in himself that he couldn't get hold of it then. I think he saw 4 points written right across the board there.
Yep.
Hollingsworth has taken over the hooking role for Cairns as well, and playing that dummy half quite a deal too. So he's started to play perhaps a more central role in the Cairns team. So this scrum going down about 35 metres out from the Tigers' territory. Schmidt there with the feed. And they use the backs this time. Maiden, very classy player, but that pass for Sigler wasn't really on.
Well, it was a blind pass, Jerry. He never really, I mean, it was a little set piece. He was always going to be there, Sigler, but at no stage did Maiden actually look for him. And that is just fraught with risk and danger. And on the first tackle, you can bet your life the forwards who just pulled their heads out of the scrum. That looked to me like it was stolen. Yes, it was. Ian Irwin gets a signal from his touch judge, and East will get a penalty.
Well, you go back to that pass now. They lost the ball, they lost ground, and now they're going to lose more ground.
Yep, here's the action. Definitely a ripping action, I think, by Hollingsworth. Yep, ripping it out.
So Dale Williams takes the tap and Crothers charges onto it as the Tigers get to within 18 metres of the Cairns line. They lead by 6 points, the Tigers. They want to extend it as it goes to Bell and then out to Liston. Smith now, good defence there. Moving up very quickly was Fowler, but Smith stepping away from him and he's caught now just 12 metres short. Bell goes in to be a dummy half. Will he keep it going to blind side? Yes, he does. Taken back infield by Peter Anderson, who's caught just 3 or 4 metres short of the line. So Anderson plays it for the Tigers. And, well, that pass going absolutely nowhere. Chance for 4 Mile to pick it up. Picked up instead by Merger, is it, for Cairns? And he's caught just outside the 20-metre line. So Cairns perhaps getting out of a bit of trouble there. Sigler. He can stand but won't try to offload Cesarago, and finishing it off Morris as far as the defence was concerned. Hollingsworth in a dummy half. Schmidt now, away to Fowler and then on to Maiden. Maiden can't let the pass away though, as he's caught about 15 short of the halfway. So it's the Cyclones. Oh, left behind, knock on there. And that's the sort of play that they don't need. So just a few too many errors coming into the Cyclones game. Nathan Woods, the man putting it down that time. There you see, eyes on where he was going, not on where the ball was going. And as a result, down it goes.
Well, very important part of the ground to put a ball down here. I think the Tigers in a great position to score again.
Scrum won by the Tigers. Liston. 30 metres out, thrown into the ground. Clifford there combining with Fowler. Manns. Oh, good defence from the Cyclones.
That's better.
Forcing him backwards. 4 Mile was one. And the other was Mick Garden. Now this is Mark Cesarago for the Tigers. 30 metres out the line, a penalty.
Hollingsworth in there again. I think he was the culprit last time. And this is a pretty good chance here for East to go for 2 points. They've got a 6-point lead. Good time to make it more than a converted try there. Cesarago being finally thrown to the ground. And Hollingsworth, I think, had the hands on the ball. Good chance here for Liston. Right in front, 30 metres out. A kicker of his capability.
And after the hectic pace of the first half, we've seen probably just a few more errors at the opening few minutes of the second half, and the game has slowed down somewhat in tempo.
Yeah, well, Cairns will want to be careful because they're the ones trailing. And they could be down by 8 points shortly with Liston lining this one up. They really haven't clicked in this second half. I guess neither side has. And you can't afford to let a side get away from you. They did well to hang in there at 14-8 up to half-time. East could easily have had another couple of tries. Some desperate defence and a little bit of luck that went with it.
Well, I think Coach Gary Smith for the Cyclones said it, didn't he? He said you've got to go forward before you go wide. And they've yet to do that in the second half.
Brendan Liston then with his penalty goal attempt. A chance to put them just those couple of points more than the converted try difference. That one looks pretty good. Up go the flags. And so the Tigers go to a 16 points to 8 lead over Cairns. And Brendan Liston kicking that penalty goal. So Cairns really have to cut out the errors. They've probably made a few too many in this second half so far.
It's out in the fall.
Again.
Well, what a bad
mistake. Tigers in the first half, though.
Yeah, what a bad mistake this is, though, from Cairns. This will put them under enormous pressure. The onus is on the side restarting play to keep the ball in the field of play. They cannot put it out on the full, either over the dead ball line or over the touch line. You must give an opportunity for the receiving side to take the ball. And in doing that, a penalty now to the Tigers. Great chance for them to go straight back on the attack, and that's exactly what they love. Big six this one now for Cairns. They must hang on here. The game is almost in the balance. Ian Irwin noticing 2 footballs on the field, so he'll restart play. The big fellow in Crothers will have to come back and have a second ruck. On this occasion, he's welcomed by the defence, though, not by the whistle. Peter Anderson was on the left, but they come down this right-hand side there. Scott Nielsen. They went into touch on a blindside play off the tap in the first half. They went perilously close there. This time Bell fires it out there to big Steve Mills. One-handed out to David Smith. He had nowhere to go. Fowler onto him quickly, as was Robbie Schmidt. They toss him onto the ground. Bell pops it up there to the big fellow in Besgrove. Now Peter Anderson gets his chance, turns it back there to Steve Mills. That's the second time they've used that little back play. That's the 5th tackle. Long pass out this one to Liston. Liston looks on the out. David Smith's crunched in. A good tackle by Scarden. Mickey Scarden read that beautifully. There were opportunities on the outside, and David Smith appeared that he could run into a gap, but Scarden came from outside in to make the tackle. Most sides defend inside out these days with the slide defence. This is David Maiden. That's a good run out of dummy half to get his side up out of their 20-metre zone.
What was vital about that tackle as well, David, was it was the 6th tackle.
Yep.
So he gave him no chance of doing anything with the ball.
Had to be made. Now the Cyclones, they'll just enjoy getting it out of their own territory. They've been basically played this whole second half in their own half. Robbie Schmidt pops the pass up to Brian Fourmile. Fourmile straightens it up, goes through the middle of the ruck, pops the pass back on the inside to Henley. There's Robbie Schmidt backing up nicely. Looks for support, then finally finds it. Nice backup from Nathan Woods. Nathan Woods tries to break it, he's locked it forward. It's gone forward to Peter Deeves. But Cairns again showing that they're prepared to pop those passes. Backup was from Nathan Woods, and as he tried to offload that one-hander, he was just bumped in the tackle. There's Woods. The defence was from Williams. He's had a good game, and as he tries to position the ball, it was just knocked out of his grasp. Peter Deeves swept on it, but of course it had gone forward.
And terrific backup from the Cairns player. Smith almost threw a gap as he went across his own 20-metre line. But the Tigers, who've had plenty of possession in the match, Steve Mills now looking to really break through this Cairns defence. Going on the blind side here is Luke Morris. Nowhere for him to go there, though. Very quickly closes up with Brian Fourmile getting involved. Now Besgrove.
Better defence from the Cyclones.
Just about to say exactly the same. Deeves and Sigler that time were the ones combining. Peter Anderson, good strong run.
That's the 5th.
And up to the halfway they go as it goes back for the kick. Downfield, the kick coming from Heath Lewis, who's come on for the Tigers, and taken by John Clifford. Caught about 15 short of the halfway. Merger's a dummy half. Going out from Maiden, and Fowler now turning it nicely back inside. Can they keep it going, the Cyclones, as Scarton, who's done plenty of good work since he's come on, trying to get the quick play to ball, and successfully gets a penalty out of it too. So this will give the Cyclones a chance to really drive it into the Tigers' territory.
Mickey Scarton looks very sharp, and he got to his feet quickly to play the ball. A little bit of interference there, I think, by Matt Dwyer, as he didn't clear the player trying to play it. And Cairns have found touch, and here's a great chance now for the Cyclones. They trail by 8 points. Henley takes the tap. Chris Kelly, winger in. Plenty of arms waving here on the right-hand side. Robbie Schmidt. Peter Deves is going to take one more settler into midfield. Schmidt now right behind the ruck, just on the right-hand side. There's plenty of pointing on the left as well. Let's see what they got on. Schmidt lets a couple go, fires it out there to Sigler. He tries to step through. He does beat Steve Mills. Can't beat the second line of defence by Scott Nielsen, though. Sigler's been dangerous every time he's used that stepping run. Robbie Schmidt's also can step. Tries to get through that defensive line. Just didn't have Peter Deves alongside him. Henley popped the pass up to Sigler. He can step, and he does it again. Went so close to scoring himself just from a simple stepping run. That's the 5th tackle. Preen fires it out there. Nice little hands here. David Maiden, good defence though from his. Here's Fowler, he's put it on the deck. It's been knocked on. And that'll be the changeover. Good defence ultimately by the Tigers, as Cairns tried to throw everything at them and just didn't have the numbers to outdo what was good sliding and covering defence.
Brian Fourmile trying to get the quick pass away because they had the numbers out there.
Now the big fellow in Besgrave to try and ruck it back out. Cairns have at least turned the cycle a bit. They were the ones who were being forced to continually ruck out a little while ago. Now they've got it down this end of the park. They'll be keen to keep the Tigers down here and force a defensive kick. Williams eats up 3. Duncan comes up the dummy half. Steve Mills tries to go forward. The defence, I think, by Nathan Woods. Yes, it was. Now this kick from Heath Lewis, the little stepping run. Not a long kick, though, by Lewis. It'll pop up to Clifford. Lewis is there to confront him. Grabs him by the jersey. Fires it out to David Maiden. He's got plenty of pace, Maiden, if he can just get through the gap. But Heath, is it Luke Morris, I think, who made the tackle?
Morris
Great
again.
work from Morris. Sigler tries that stepping run again, beats that first tackle as he's done so many times. Chances here for Cairns if they can move it out on the left-hand side. That's Preen to Robbie Schmidt. Schmidt gets the long pass out here to Clifford. Here are the numbers. Scarton goes back on the inside. There's Mickey Scarton. Steps away from a couple of tackles. I don't know how he did it. He seemed to skip through them. Cairns now with room to move on the right if they can get a quick play the ball. Kelly out there to Fourmile. Fourmile steps back on the middle. There was nothing on here. Surely the chances are on the outside. That's the 5th. Robbie Schmidt lets one go. Fires it out to Fowler. Fowler lets Sigler go. There's David Maiden, the kick into the in-goal area. Very short in-goals here. And once again, the visiting side find it difficult to hold the ball in the in-goal. The kick through by Maiden has gone dead, and the pressure is off the Tigers.
It was designed for Merger. He was flying through there, and we'll see it on replay now as the pass goes out to Maiden. The little kick there, and Merger will see he'll come into the picture shortly. There he is, but the ball beating him across the dead ball line.
I think the dead ball line areas are allowed to be somewhere between 6 and 11 metres, I think. Maximum 11 and minimum 6. I'd say these are 6.01.
Scott Manzan for the Tigers running across field, see if he can find a gap to straighten, but Mickey Scarton is the one to take him ball and all and send him backwards. Brother, of course, of John Scarton, who plays with the Cowboys, and former Gold Coast player. Heath Lewis now for the Tigers. Scott Nielsen.
Well read that from Fowler. Nice sliding defence. Let the dummy runner go and just pinpointed the man with the ball.
Sassarago caught about 8 metres short of the ball, short of the halfway line. Williams in a dummy half. Back it goes to Lewis for the kick. Attempting to drive it down there. Again, it hangs up for Clifford, but a bit of an awkward bounce. He's got Merger back in support, though. And Clifford taking the tackle 20 from the halfway. So it's Cairns. Merger up a dummy half. He's a dangerous player. running with the ball and looking for options, and provides one for Scarton. Scarton, who's stepped nicely back inside, and here's Merger again, but beautifully taken there. Wonderful tackle by Michael Besgrove to take him ball and all, and hurt him too, I think. Now, 4 Mile still going. What a player. There's no support. Yes, Henley was looming on the inside. Henley gets in quickly. Away it goes now, carted forward by Chad Preen. Preen to within about 10 metres of the halfway line. So the Cairns Cyclones, they're on the march. Schmidt working it around with Henley, but Henley's driven into the ground on the 5th tackle. Last chance then. Schmidt's in there ready at dummy half, and he sends it, leaves out Preen and sends it to Maiden, who steps back inside. Little grubber chance. Oh, he's pulled down in the back play, and he'll get a penalty.
Good call, Jerry. Maiden was not allowed to continue through. The referee, seeing the ball go over the dead ball line, has decided that Maiden wouldn't have been able to score this, so he's not going to award a penalty try. David Maiden did well here because he had nothing on at all. He had about 6 defenders on one. I thought they'd gone the wrong way. They still got the penalty, and now the Cyclones with a great chance to put points on the board they so desperately need. Bad pass, that went up to Fowler. He's made something of it, though. Pops it back on the inside. They've dropped it. Howlett's dropped it. Steve Howlett, in their panic almost, to score it. When a half a chance was presented, they then lost the ball forward, and they may well rue that. Howlett tries to pass up, couldn't be handled by Peter Deves.
And Mark Cesarago doing the cleaning up at a vital time too. So the Tigers then run it out from their own line as Andrew Duncan again gets himself involved, does a bit of the forwards work, gives them a bit of a rest. Now Steve Mills.
That great break, Jerry, by 4 Mile a couple of moments ago down here on this left-hand side when he did come searching to the left. Winger Merger was down injured at the time. Had he been fit and ready to run, I'm sure he would have just swept up alongside. And it was somewhat unfortunate for the Cyclones. They didn't have their full complement.
It's unfortunate. It's unusual, isn't it, for a Cairns player to make a break without having somebody behind him, because they're great at backing up.
Yeah, and Merger was having a bit of trouble, and he's still limping now out on the far side, but he's still having a bit of trouble. But he was certainly would have been in good position on this side of the field.
Bell to Lewis for the driving kick. Kelly in good position just outside his 20. Schmidt directing him to go across field, but instead he goes to his own left and cramps for room there, but it gives the Cairns team a chance to spread wide as it goes to Schmidt now. And this is fullback John Clifford showing the ball, running forward, caught just short of the halfway. Hollingsworth into dummy half, going for a run by himself. Once again there was a player looming, and that was Chad Preen. Schmidt now. Fowler. Across halfway goes Fowler, holding up the pass, but Scarton was through before he could send the pass to him. Kelly to dummy half. Big strong man here in Nathan Woods. Caught 10 metres in the Tigers' territory. Loses the ball.
Just the changeover that East were looking for. They've been under a fair bit of pressure. They'll now get a chance to get possession well away from their own try line. A luxury they haven't been enjoying for the last 15 minutes.
It'll be interesting to see here, you know, when a team has a lot of pressure on another team, they hold them out, the other team inevitably goes the length of the field to score. So it'll be interesting to see what East can do here.
The Tigers are certainly capable of that. Neil Bell puts it in, fires it straight up there to Andrew Duncan. Heath Lewis is first receiver on the left. David Smith fires the pass out, went in behind Luke Morris, but finally picked up there by Alan Glyde. So a disjointed passage here for the Tigers. They would have wanted more forward momentum than this. Carruthers tries to give it to him, or give it to the Tigers, but still they've hardly moved the ball up the field. Williams decides he can do it though, straight up to Cesarago, who backed up nicely after a good little run from Dale Williams. He's having a very good hooker's game. Williams points right, goes left, finally gets a pass out there to Scott Nielsen. Nielsen had the hand free, but still manages to wrestle his way forward. That's the 5th tackle. Those last couple of ruck plays have saved them, but it hasn't saved Scott Nielsen, who's been, I think, winded in that heavy tackle. And Nielsen there, it's a blood bin actually. He's not winded. He's got a bit of a gash, and he'll leave the field, and Peter Anderson will come on. There's only one play now to go in this set of 6. East with all the time in the world to set up what they want. I would suggest a high ball coming down about 10 metres out will be the order of the day with plenty of chasers. Let's have a look. Heath Lewis, up she goes. Clifford, the solitary man to take it. Got it nicely, beautifully taken there by John Clifford. And he does well to bring it back another 10 metres. Quick play, the ball was also good. Robbie Schmidt can create some numbers here. There it is. Straight through the defensive line goes Fowler. Fowler looks back on the inside to Scarton. Scarton looks for support. Finds Robbie Schmidt. Schmidt out to Fowler on the fingertips. Luke Morris to make the tackle. It's a beauty. Morris cuts him down with a grass cutter. 9 metres out from the try line. Coming forward comes Chris Kelly into a pack of 6 of them. And they manage to hang on to him. If there's 6 there, there's got to be gaps somewhere else. Quick play the ball from Henley. Up there to Robbie Schmidt, coming out the middle ruck. Hollingsworth, steps, he's there. Right beside the posts. Cairns have done it. After good play to get away on the fringes here. Some good work from Cairns. They've spread the ball on the left. They got near the try line. They had one ruck from Chris Kelly who tried to bash his way over. Robbie Schmidt's a bit smarter than that. He took the first pass on this particular play, went to the defensive line, popped it back on the inside to Hollingsworth, dances through, close enough to the try line to reach out, and Cairns are back in the match.
They certainly are, and it was again tremendous support play here. Fowler heading for the corner, dragged down, and a glorious tackle by Luke Morris. His defence has been outstanding in this game, and you'll see to play the ball, and it'll go to Schmidt. As it's sent across to Schmidt now, he goes, that's Kelly, of course, Chris Kelly getting involved with the next ruck and caught just short of the line. He has to play the ball. Henley in there at dummy half. Schmidt's ready to receive, and he takes the ball, indicates that he might go by himself. Hollingsworth in the completely reverse direction is able to go across and put it down for the try, reaching out to get that try. Schmidt the schemer, Hollingsworth finishing it off. And Cairns score a most important try, first try of the second half. This conversion will make this game very close, and it is successful from John Clifford. And so here at Langlands, East hanging on now to just a 2-point lead. East 16, Cairns 14.
Well, East defence is in disarray here, as we can see this movement. This is where it all starts from. Great ball movement here, great backing up. Doing and throwing here. Oh, it's Smith has been everywhere here. The winger has a shot. We're probably about 2 or 3 plays behind here. As we see the winger have another shot at this. And it goes back now. I can see here it goes wide to Schmidt. I thought he could have gone to the play and Hollingsworth could have scored outside or inside, but he took the other option and changing the angle of attack.
Back with the action live, and Cairns, that would have been a tremendous fillip for them. Then just 2 points behind now, and we've got a tremendous ball game on our hands as Henley makes a good break. Just playing the ball forward and getting up and taking it up to within 5 metres of the halfway, and the game comes alive with East leading by 16 points to 14, and Cairns make use of it. John Clifford in a gap across the halfway. Scarton was on the inside, couldn't take the pass. Picked up now by Dwyer for the Tigers, and Dwyer will take the tackle. They're trying to get him to the touchline. Scarton and Robbie Schmidt combining there. Andrew Duncan.
Obviously Cairns now trying to exploit that short defensive line that East like to employ, and that pass back on the inside to Scarton. It almost looked like his knee came up to knock the ball out of his own hands. Had he been able to take that, there was more pressure on East because they were stretched all over the park.
Darren Crothers takes it into Cairns territory then. Williams at dummy half. Now this is Sasarago. 8 metres in Cairns territory. Williams, Lewis, and that's deflecting off Maiden. Oh, kicked through nicely there. Good work by Williams following that through. Now picked up by Clifford. Clifford caught on his own 20.
Ball that rebounded off Maiden, and Cairns, believing they were in offside positions, left it there. Maiden couldn't quite get to it. The kick through. Fortunately for Cairns, Clifford back there to recover.
Hollingsworth and Merger in a run around. Schmidt now. Through the gap goes Schmidt. Merger was looming.
Just overrun it, Merger. If he'd hung back just that half metre, I'm sure the pass would have been offered to him.
Hollingsworth and Cairns really starting to look impressive again, as they were at times in the first half. Merger goes to dummy half. And offloading the pass now to Preen and Fowler, taking it into Tigers territory by 8 metres on the 5th tackle. What will they do with it this time? Hollingsworth puts the high ball. Touched. So the Cairns players following through. It's available for Cairns. Away it goes to Berger and he'll score. Berger goes over after accepting the pass from Steve Howler. Terrific kick there from Hollingsworth. Made it a real chance for everyone. And the bounce of the ball in the end, but it's put the Cairns Cyclones in front by 2 points, 18-16.
What a great kick this one. Nice ball high into the air by Hollingsworth. Andrew Duncan can't get a hold of it. Straight off the chest it came. And why Howard even thought about holding the pass up for a moment. I'd have given it to Merger straight through the hands. As it was, he still gave him plenty of room. He gets across. Neil Bell can't stop him. Here's the final rush of play. Howard there just held the pass up at the moment. The chance was there to give it to the flying Merger. He'll bob up anywhere, this fellow. And he bobbed up right place, right time. Second try there for Richard Merger. And a fine one it was. He scored 7 for the season. Only 21 years of age. Put him on the end of a good backline in any competition, and I'm sure he'll score plenty.
And where that was scored, you'd say he's playing on the left wing, right? Wrong. He's playing on the right wing. Yeah. So that shows how he is getting around and getting involved.
You're certainly right there. It's interesting to see that with Schmidt doing all the organising, that Robbie Hollingsworth has taken a bit of the pressure off him there and has got himself involved there, and he's been instrumental in a lot of their plays to get him down in this position.
I agree with you, Wal. Hollingsworth came in and he's played a bit of dummy half, and he really has had a good second half in terms of that organisation.
John Clifford then with a tough one from the sideline. If he can kick it, it'll be handy, and he's done a fairly good job of it, but it's flagged away, no goal. And so the score remains Cairns 18, East 16.
As we see here, Hollingsworth puts up the kick there. Great chase here. Put the pressure on the fullback, and Duncan, he just can't get a hold of it. Picked up nicely there. Out to Merger, and it's all over now.
The game's not all over though. Plenty of action still to come. We've got 8 minutes to go. 8 minutes of excitement because there are only 2 points in it. And it's Cairns now leading by 2 points. Preen stepping back inside. Plenty of good Tigers defence there. The Tigers will really want to pin Cairns down here. Hollingsworth. After losing to Toowoomba last weekend as well, I'm sure everybody up in Cairns, and hello to you all, I'm sure you're very keen to see this side come through and win today.
And Jerry, apparently, even though the score, I think, was something like 16-6 against Toowoomba, they were far from disgraced Cairns. They played particularly well. Dropped a bit of ball. That was their problems. That should be play on. That was knocked backwards. Good work this from Cairns now as Henley picks up the ball. They do run those angles and back up well.
They certainly do. It goes to Schmidt now. And a little kick over the top, but Duncan will have no troubles picking that one up, taking it across his own 20.
Now the Tigers, who haven't had a lot of ball in the last 5 minutes, will also show their attacking wares. Alan Glyde through a tiring defence and a fairly sparse one as well. Down the blind side they go again through Steve Mills. Steve Mills holds the pass up, pops it back to Williams. He does well to keep it clear to Alan Glyde. Can't get away from Hollingsworth and Preen, the two back rowers. Williams has gone to dummy half. Heath Lewis out here to Peter Anderson. Crashes into the defence, can't get the hands free to offload the ball. Dale Williams has gone to dummy half again. Heath Lewis out there to Bell. Bell back on the inside of the skipper in Cesarago. Tried to flick that ball out the back but couldn't get it away. Preen did well to cover it up over the top, and he's been hurt with Henley coming in to make sure he couldn't offload. He was then back slammed into the ground, and certainly the wind taken out of his sails. Heath Lewis tries the high midfield kick. Williams has been told he's offside. Clifford's got all the time in the world. Not a particularly good kick. David Smith, though, does well to wrap him up. Kelly's gone to dummy half. That's Schmidt. Out to David Maiden. Again, not much on, but he doesn't need much room to move. This fellow, very good player. Robbie Schmidt pops it up to Nathan Woods. Goes forward. Brought to ground by Bell. Sigler out to Schmidt, to Fowler. There's Robbie Schmidt back on the inside. Fowler decides, oh, that looked to be forward. Could have been offside too because the players were stationary. The referee's happy enough with just a forward pass. And here's a chance for the Tigers.
One very disappointing sight down there. Mark Cesarago coming off and favouring a wrist, it appeared, around the wrist area, and was going straight to the dressing room. He's led the Tigers well today, and it would be a blow if they were to lose him.
It's going to take some enormous defence here from the Cairns to keep East out.
Sure will. Bell puts it in. Fires Steve Mills on the burst. Pops it up also to Andrew Duncan. They've lost it backwards. Cairns are going to get a hold of it. They've knocked it on. Cairns have knocked it on, not the Tigers. So East with another chance now. After they put a big play on with the big fellow Steve Mills standing off the base of the scrum. Fired it up to Duncan. Not there. Well, it looked like Mills may have touched it a second time, but instead it'll be loose head and feed to the Tigers. And a great chance for East to snatch this victory. They trail by 2 points at the moment. We've got about 5 minutes to go. Heath Lewis throws one dummy, finds David Smith, beats Scarden. David Smith looks back on the inside, but he's grasped by John Clifford. Luke Morris goes to dummy half. Scott Manns. He's wrapped up, but they're in midfield. That's their second tackle, I believe. Williams throws the dummy. Pops it up nicely to Scott Manns. Looks on the outside to Morris. Morris to David Smith. David Smith tries to break that tackle. It was a good one in the end. Had to be made by Fowler. Morris tries the blind side. Can't quite get there. Only a couple of metres out. Matt Dwyer's at dummy half. Passes it up to Anderson. Anderson looks for David Smith. He breaks out of the tackle. Blocked just before the try line. Matt Dwyer again, dummy half. Bell fires that long run out. Picked up here by Besgrove. Besgrove out to Mills. He can't handle. It's been knocked on both ways. Great defence that from the Cyclones. It'll be a changeover. They breathe a huge sigh of relief with 4 minutes to go. They had to hang on then. The game was in the balance.
Yes, it might have been the difference between winning this game and not winning it. That terrific defensive effort by Cairns. And so they now have possession, and the clock is down to just a little bit more than 3 minutes to go. Henley then, bringing it up to within 20 metres of the halfway. Just 2 points in the game. There you see just a bit more than 3 minutes left in the game. 18-16 in favour of Cairns, and they've made another break as well. And across the halfway goes Sigler. He's played well, and they get a penalty. Being called out as Scott Manns. So a penalty goes to Cairns, already 10 metres in the Tigers' territory.
Actually, it was Besgrove, the fellow that was penalised. Big number 10.
My apologies. So Besgrove is penalised, and it means that Cairns have a chance to really drive it down towards the Tigers' territory, and with that 2 point lead, a wonderful chance for them. Well, they don't pick up a lot of ground, but most importantly, they have the next 6 tackles. And of course they'll then want to make sure that they keep the Tigers down there. Kelly comes off the wing and rushes towards that 20-metre line. There he's tackled. Smith going over the top. Now this is Nathan Woods making a good strong run. Henley at dummy half. Schmidt tries the blind side, linking up with Fowler. Nowhere for Fowler to go though. In some ways he might have been lucky that he lost his footing a little bit there, otherwise he could have been forced towards the touchline. Schmidt turning it back inside to Preen. Nowhere for Preen to go. Tackled 8 metres out from the line. 4 Mile. Can he get through? He's got plenty of strength. He's across the line as he put it down. Yes! A try to 4 Mile, and that is the ball game. Cairns have snatched the game. No doubt about that. With the clock down to just a minute and a half to go. Cairns 22, East 16.
Well, there's been plenty of guile in the Cairns play today. Robbie Schmidt had been first receiver on the preceding 3 rucks, but when in doubt, use power, use strength, go for the try line. That's what 4 Mile did, and he made it across the try line. He's wrapped up a pretty good game too, this fellow. Low and hard, busts a couple of tackles, gets away there from 3 East defenders, lurches across the try line, and this will be a great come-from-behind win by the Cairns Cyclones. They were down 14-6 at one stage in the first half. They then had a 14-8 lead at half-time, but Cairns have come home with, some 3 very good tries in the second half, and that's been enough to well and truly seal up the match for them. They've only sealed it in the dying seconds. It took some great defence here a little while ago to make sure they held the Tigers out.
John Clifford has a good record already, 3 from 4. And what a terrific effort by Brian 4 Mile. He's a pocket rocket, a pocket dynamo. He's very short, but he's all power. And to get across the line the way he did then was something to behold. And how important was it? Here comes the conversion now from Clifford. Doesn't look too bad. Away to the left of the uprights, no goal. Clock says about 15 seconds to go, and Cairns lead by 22 points to 16.
Well, as you said, Jerry, he's a real pocket rocket, Brian Formile. As we see here, go a little play here. It's from this next play here that Brian Formile just shows a bit of explosive power here. Goes through 3 defenders, bang, 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 and over he goes to clinch the game for the Cairns Cyclones.
And the hooter has gone, the referee has blown full time, and Cairns have come from behind to beat the East Tigers by 22 points to 16 in yet another entertaining game on our Saturday afternoon Queensland Cup Rugby League coverage. A tremendous first half. It took the second half a little bit, quite a deal of time to wind up. And there, Gary Smith, the coach of the Cairns team, would no doubt be delighted with the fact that they've come back after that loss to Toowoomba last week. And as we were saying before the match, Cairns and Toowoomba have been the real performers from the country areas in this competition. And after they clashed up there last week, Toowoomba getting clear by 3 points on top of the ladder, but Cairns needing to come back here today, and they are quite satisfied and have reason to be satisfied with their performance. The Tigers, I guess in lots of ways you'd have to consider them unlucky. They played some very good rugby league today, but unfortunately for them, unable to come up with the victory. A victory which they probably needed. Let's go down to Wally Fullerton-Smith. He's with the man of the match, Robbie Schmidt.
Well, Robbie, what a tremendous win by Cairns Cyclones, coming from behind there, and what a way to do it.
It was, really. First half we were a bit lazy, lethargic or something, I don't know, but second half we come out, stuck it to us. Smitty gave us a revving at half time. We come out, produced a good, held the ball for 6 and controlled it. That's why we won, I think.
Well, you certainly did, and I think that's the key to controlling the ball and getting the points on the board. And you kept the pressure on them all the way and come up good come up trumps at the end of the day.
Yeah, our defence livened up in the second half, put heaps of pressure on them. They made mistakes and everything, and we capitalised on it. That's the name of football, isn't it? That's the way it goes.
Well, you needed this win, particularly after going down to Toowoomba last week. But what a way to get on the board. Away, it's never easy to win away, and you've done it today.
Yeah, well, Toowoomba's a good side. We didn't want to lose, but we lost and put us straight back to 6. We had to win today. It was a do-or-die situation, really. We still got a few hard games to go yet. It's not over. We just want to get there at the end.
Well, congratulations, mate, for a well-earned award.
Thanks, eh? I'll say hello to everyone up in Cairns again, eh? Way to go, fellas.